This is the Backpass, a podcast for sports nerds by sports nerds.
This episode on the Backpass, we look at what if the 2007 T20 World Cup was won by Pakistan? So here we go. Final over of the T20 World Cup. It comes down to Misbah-ul-Haq and Joginder Sharma with the ball. 13 needed of 6 balls. And the first ball is a wide. The second ball, Misbah hits it for 6. 6 runs needed. There's a dot ball. 6 more still needed from 4. And then Misbah goes for a scoop shot. It goes up. Sreesanth looking like he's coming under it. Oh, the ball keeps going. It keeps going. And it doesn't stop. It's 6 runs. It's all over. Pakistan are T20 world champions. They've defeated India in the World Cup final. Their first ever World Cup final win against India. This is huge. Big celebrations. There is mass hysteria in Pakistan. There's a great depression in India. And here we'll bring in Shivan, Kevin and Sid. Lads, what has just happened?
Not something I really want to picture.
Look, what has happened is a lot of players are now being labeled as anti-nationals. They lost a game against Pakistan. There is some conspiracy going on behind the scenes. Sreesanth should have done better. You know, it all links to match fixing. We all knew it. He was a culprit from way back in the final. What else? Joginder Sharma, why did Dhoni go to him? One of the worst captains ever for India. Who decided he should be the captain?
He should never have been named captain.
He should never have been named captain. Why didn't we pick the seniors? You know?
Yeah.
A lot of post-mortem would have gone on. That's what's going on right now.
And you would think that, and if you even just broke it down, like it was a big moment. It would have been a big moment regardless of any kind of World Cup match. But in a World Cup final, T20 World Cup final, there's some interesting players on the pitch for both teams. But there's also a lot of players on the Indian side that definitely grew in stature. You know, the likes of RP Singh in that World Cup final, Kevin?
Yeah. RP Singh, Sreesanth's catching skills, definitely.
When you say catching skills, Kevin, you mean catching just the ball catching or match fixing catching as well?
I think that's where it all started.
Oh, yeah,
after he realized that he could have so much influence over the game, he was like, okay, well, let's try and make some money off
T20.
Yeah. RP Singh, that over, it kind of reminds me of Stephen Bradbury, where if you're there at the end and, you just do enough, chances are you're going to get that gold medal. And that's what RP Singh sort of did. Whereas you compare it to, Gautam Gambhir, who wasn't picked in that one-day World Cup for whatever reason. We still don't know to this very day. I don't think there's been any justification. He's 75.
Not like the BCCI to do anything like that.
No.
Yeah, they're very fair people. Very fair people.
Yeah. Very fair. Very fair. But it changed Indian cricket for the following 20 years. It made MS Dhoni a poster child for the new age of Indian cricket.
And on the flip side, the Pakistan, if they had gone on to win, and would Shahid Afridi have been kind of been looked at as such a wildcat as he was? Would there be more love for him in the cricketing world?
Well, he would still be 16, that's for sure, if they won the World Cup. Yeah. I mean, look, that's one thing they never achieved until the last T20 World Cup when they beat India. When I say the last, not the last in Melbourne, but the one prior to it. So beating India in a final would have been immense for Pakistan, given the fact they lost a game which they should have won in the league stage. So if they beat India in the final, that would have been a sweet revenge for them, and also that they've beaten India for the first time in the World Cup. Embarrassing from an Indian perspective, because obviously they would have kept rubbing the whole thing in for so many years, like they're still doing the Champions Trophy since 2017. But yeah, it just like a lot of Indian players grew in stature post that 2007 World Cup. It would have done the same thing for a lot of Pakistan players as well, especially likes of Misbah, Umar Gul, anyone who actually played a supporting role in that final.
Well, Umar Gul actually had a really important role in that final. He took, 4 wickets? 3 wickets?
Something like that. 3 for 28 or something like that,
Yeah,
I vaguely remember Umar Gul was one of the most feared bowlers at that time.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing things with the ball which nobody else could.
Yeah.
To a very good extent.
I mean, Shahid Afridi wasn't really that. I didn't think he took a wicket in that World Cup final at all. I think he
I don't think he played. I don't think he played an important role in the final. You're spot on that one.
He was about, and he went in and out of the final pretty quickly.
Typical Shahid Afridi.
But yeah, 100% agree. Like Umar Gul would have been a poster child of Pakistan T20 success from that point going forward, without a doubt.
I'd have to add that Shahid Afridi was one of the few men caught by Sreesanth. First ball duck.
Yeah, I think he tried to slog the ball or something like that, and like nothing new for him. But
nothing new for him. Totally within character.
Yeah. I mean, he was 16 at the time, so you can't blame him for playing such a rare shot.
Afridi was named Player of the Series for the 2007 World Cup, though. So he was good up until that final, but
after that, age started catching up on him.
To his credit, though, he did actually play an important role in the next World Cup for Pakistan. He actually performed well in the 2009 edition.
You probably underestimated Sreesanth's catching ability.
Yeah,
This is never going to get.
Let's be fair.
So did Hall of India.
Yeah, I think even the Indian cricket team, his teammates, underestimated his catching ability in that game.
But you had Imran Nazir as well for Pakistan, 33 of 14. He kind of really got them going, got them kind of up, but run out by Robin Uttapa, who stuck around. He played a lot. He still managed to get a lot of cricket into his career. He played a lot of T20.
Yeah,
became almost a T20 specialist.
Uttapa was, after Yuvraj, or even Sehwag for that matter, I think he was one of the most cleanest hitters of the ball. He's the Sanju Samson from that time, who could never sort of, play to his full potential. He never got to the point where he would be taken seriously and be a regular member of the Indian team. Like, I mean, some of
indispensable to the team,
some of his hitting I've seen in Australia against Brett Lee. There was a straight six to Brett Lee. I think it was in Gabba, if I remember correctly. It was a beautiful strike. But he just never justified his talent. He won a game in England against England as well.
I have a soft spot for Robin Uttapa because he's probably the first genuine Keralite player in the Indian cricket team, in the Indian setup, that someone from my age group would actually be able to follow. There's probably previous, and would actually from a character standpoint, he would be somebody that you could say, look up to.
Yeah.
Whereas you compare him to Sreesanth, and later on we realized that he had the bout with epilepsy, and that was a weight problem for him, which comparatively had an impact on his career. So there are mitigating factors involved with Robin Uttapa.
Yeah. And he was still playing IPL not so long ago. I think he just played
until last season. Yeah. I think he's made quite a lot of money in the IPL from memory.
He's done well.
He's done well.
Done
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the IPL soon as well. But some of the other standout performers, obviously, you know, the Pathan brothers, Yusuf Pathan and Irfan Pathan, who bowled so well for India. Gautam Gambhir, 75. He resurrected his career there, Shivank.
Well, I don't know if resurrected is the right word. I mean, no matter how good you play, you still can't do anything about the selectors if they don't want you in the team. But yeah, that did feel like a breakaway tournament for him in some sorts. He was in and out of the test team without any explanation, wasn't really able to get into the one-day team, although the one-day team was a bit of a hard objective at that time anyway, when you consider that Sehwag, Lakshman, Ganguly, Dravid, these guys were still playing and in their pomp, or just about the tail end of their pomp. So getting into the ODI lineup might have been difficult. But yeah, his score in this tournament basically allowed him to build upon for at least the next 4 years. And that led to that magical innings at the Wankhede in 2011. So, yeah.
Shivank, that's a really interesting point about those Indian batsmen from, early 2000s. The dominance of Tendulkar, Lakshman, Dravid, etc., etc. I think this T20 victory, the 2007 T20 final, spoke in a different way to the broader Indian cricketing supporting public. It pushed a new level of talent out there to say that, you know, hey, we don't really need to play Lakshman in all formats of cricket. You could, you know, put in somebody like Gautam Gambhir and, you know, MS Dhoni can lead a new generation of players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about the wider impact of that tournament, it actually showed the Indian audience a future without, you know, Ganguly, Dravid, Tendulkar, Lakshman, all of these guys. It showed the team that, you know, there's a shorter format of the game which we might actually do well in. It genuinely established Dhoni as a reasonable captain. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was his first major tournament as captain.
It was.
Don't recall.
I
don't recall him being the captain in the ODI World Cup earlier in the year in the Caribbean, which let's not talk about.
There was a particular great Indian batsman who was captain of the 2007 ODI team.
Yeah.
One of the other standouts as well, and the future Indian captain in this lineup, batting at number 7, was Rohit Sharma, young Rohit Sharma. Who got
he must have been, 17 or 18 at the time?
He would have been, I think he would have been like about that 19 or something mark, fresh out of the under-19 World Cup.
Yeah.
Trim.
30
Trim is
of...
the word. Very
hungry, you mean? Hungry.
Yes.
Hungry.
Yes.
Boy, that hunger stayed strong after all these years.
And he's been tested 6 times for doping. I'm like, you look at his physique, man. Does he look like doing drugs? Like, seriously, like.
Mate, it's the vada paws, nothing else. It's the dope. It's nothing. It's just the vada paws.
Yeah.
He got 30 of 16, which is a fair crack. 30 not out of 16 balls. And that really got India to that total.
And that's the thing. You look at that scorecard, it's an interesting one. 157, of which almost 50% runs scored by Gautam Gambhir. Right? And then 30 from Rohit Sharma. So it's almost like 60, 70% runs scored by 2 people. And India still sort of managed to win the game.
Yep.
I had a belief back then that Gautam Gambhir should have been the captain of India with his aggression that he had. He should have never been dropped from any format for a number of years. He may have been, he would have been a stupid captain. I don't know. I'm just thinking because the aggression he had, that was missing in India back then. And the way we sort of got kicked out of the World Cup in 2007, they needed somebody who could actually, you know, face the opposition, you know, take it to the opposition, which we seriously lacked at that time. Dravid was a great batsman, but he wasn't a great captain.
No.
Yeah, so, but again, as it stands, Gautam Gambhir never got the credit for all his achievements for Indian cricket.
Yeah.
No, don't think he did.
I mean, this is a what if series, so we can talk about speculatives, but who's to say that if India had lost the 2007 World Cup, they might have cut short the Dhoni experiment as captain and handed it to Gautam
Oh,
Gambhir.
Yeah,
definitely.
Would have been
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
that's right up BCCI's alley. Like they wouldn't.
There's a big chance, right? There's
Yeah.
a big chance that Dhoni doesn't get the test in the ODI captaincy, and it keeps staying away. Dhoni still wasn't test captain for a couple of years, I think. After.
Yeah.
It took him a while.
Wasn't there a lot of politics with him and Yuvraj? I don't think there was anything between them, but the way that the BCCI looked at them as players, they kind of felt like they could only have one in the team at any given point in time.
It's funny if you watch the movie MS Dhoni, it goes back a long way. He was always awe-inspired by Yuvraj. The way Yuvraj, because I have seen Yuvraj in my, cricketing days in Chandigarh. Like even when he came to the ground for practice, there was an aura about him. He would had somebody, come and pick up his kit. He was a spoiled brat, and he carried a persona which Dhoni never did. So, and I think if you talk to Yuvraj's dad today, he believed that Yuvraj's career was cut short because of Dhoni. He never got the credit in his later days because of Dhoni. So he's not a big fan of him. And he's given a lot of incidents where, Dhoni has ignored Yuvraj's dad, on a number of occasions. So he says he's not the nice guy he pretends to be. He's got a different face to the world, and he's got a different face, in his real life. So I don't know. I think there was something between him and Yuvraj where you're right. There was something. We never knew what it was. But either he was jealous of him or he thought he was a threat to him. Like, again, 2011 World Cup final. We all talk about Dhoni's innings. But I talk about Yuvraj's innings against Australia in the quarterfinal against,
Yeah.
For me, that was the innings of the whole tournament.
He came through. That was probably one of the most clutch innings against a peak Australian side that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We have to understand that Australian cricket team was flush. That's based on experience, skill, momentum, everything.
And chasing 250, 60, whatever they chased down was not easy on that pitch. The ball was reverse swinging. And the way he played that innings, you're right. I think it was the best knock I have ever seen under those circumstances.
I have to do a slight digression here and just remind people that, yes, it was a thing that in ODI cricket, the ball did reverse swing before the patriarchy established itself.
Are you sure you remember this era, Shivang?
Oh, I do.
You're old enough to remember it? Okay.
No, he's been watching replays.
Exactly. Kevin's on the money here.
We'll be watching the black and white documentaries of ODI cricket.
The great Wasim Akram called it once. He says it was actually ball tampering until the English learnt it, and then it became reverse swing.
Swing. Yeah.
An idea for T20 cricket. We need to get reverse swing in T20 cricket.
Oh, that would be brilliant, man. That would be
Balls.
Old balls.
Old balls, yeah.
Just abandon new balls.
No, you should be.
Balls. Or just
should
like
be able
lacquer one side. Just heavy lacquer on one side.
You should be able to carry the ball from game to game, like especially in the IPL, right? They should be able to, like the bowling team that bowled, whichever. They should be able to take that ball and use it in the next game, and so you can develop like 3 games worth of reverse swing and then see how that works.
That'd be like chasing like 4.
You don't want to be the third team, team facing like the same ball. You're like, oh crap, it's gonna go from the start.
It'd be like 80 for 9 at the end of 20 overs, chasing 81.
So getting it back on track, and let's talk about the, obviously we spoke about the players and their legacies. That Indian cricket team that won didn't actually have a coach. So they were without a coach at the World Cup, and the BCCI obviously thought it wasn't something that's important, that they actually needed to name a coach for the team. So they had a manager, Lal Chand Rajput, who took them took them to the World Cup and managed the team, and managed a young team. He, in fact, went on to have a big impact on world cricket, right? So obviously after that win, his prominence, especially in T20, kind of grew. He went on and, developed Afghan cricket, and, he's kind of grown that Afghani cricket generation almost, and upskilled them there, where we've seen a lot more coming from Afghanistan, and we've seen them, turn up last couple of T20 World Cups and actually pick up scalps and really compete hard.
There's apparently, I heard this story before the World Cup. When India was kicked out of the World Cup, there was some sort of thing going on that they actually chose a very young team to go to the 2007 World Cup, the T20 World Cup, that is. So if they lose, they can say, look, it was a young team.
Experimental.
It was just an experiment because it was T20. It was just for fun. We were just trying different things. Until it actually came together and they won the World Cup. It's like, well, we had confidence in this team that they could achieve the ultimate glory.
We backed Dhoni.
We backed exactly.
We gave him the players he wanted.
Yeah.
We backed them. We didn't even give you a coach. We just let you do what you wanted.
We let Dhoni be the coach. We really backed him.
Exactly.
Like, you coach the team. You captain the team. You go win it.
Yeah. We'll have your support staff.
Yeah, we had no. So this was an experiment. They sent a team. So if they get kicked out of the World Cup again, they'll say, "Oh, look, it was just young. We just wanted to try a few things for the future." But they won the World Cup. They're like, "Oh well, let's take."
Ironically, credit. that experiment worked again in 2013.
Yeah, it did.
True. Yeah,
but that was a T20 final, anyways, which was supposed to be a 50-over game.
Yeah. So maybe that is what the BCCI should rinse and repeat every time there's a World Cup. Send a brand new team. Really, we're just doing it for the lols.
They don't even need a World Cup. Like they can just random series, like I don't know, the West Indian series. Just chuck a couple of youngsters in there. Like have nobody over the age of 30.
I actually think they should just call, like, say, the Backpass and be like, "Hey, can you name just give us a name of 26-man team that can go to the next World Cup?" And we'll just rattle off a team, and they'll be like, okay, let's go with that.
Ali, we don't even need to be in the room. Between the Backpass, computing skills, we can write pseudocode for them and or write a script that just pulls from ESP, Cricinfo, get the stats, so we can just shortlist the best under 25 players based on averages in Ranji and IPL, right? And then just build a team like that. Yeah. And then you can choose either, Virat, or if you really want to, Rohit or Ashwin as a captain. Whatever your flavor.
So we just moneyball it.
Moneyball it, 100%.
Yeah, we moneyball it, and we have some hard logic in the system. Like if you ask for more than 5 over 30 players, it basically just gives you 3. And fudges up a couple of birth certificates in the process.
Yeah. On that note, how many players of that GABA test were over 30? 1.
Rahane?
Yeah.
No. Pujara?
Oh, yeah, okay. 2.
Yeah, okay, 2. Yeah.
Rohit wasn't 30 then.
Wait. No, Rohit Sharma's 36.
Is he 36 or 32?
30. Yeah.
Okay.
36.
So 3 out of 11, that's not bad. That's fine. And that's the cutoff. That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah, 3 over 30s.
Yeah.
I'm much more extreme. I think 1. You have 1 over 30-year-old in the Indian cricket team.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Until they start winning, right? And then you keep the team, right?
Okay.
So how many on that case? So 3 is an extreme, and that's why I say how many of the players who played the first test as the GABA test and never played again?
Natarajan?
Yeah.
Washi?
No, Washi played another test after that against
Yeah.
England.
I didn't think he played that badly from memory.
No, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like he just kept, he came and just started smacking straight away.
Yeah, why was he never picked? Like, actually, that's a good point. Like, we're missing Pant in the World Test Championship. Why didn't we pick Washington Sundar? Because he's a very similar type of player.
No, Washington Sundar was a drop-in replacement for a certain Ravindra Jadeja who had done his ACL.
Okay. I mean, that's sort of linked with what if. What if we had the main team back then in the Gabba test?
Well, Kohli was still captain.
That's
so
true.
I'm still going for it. Yeah, I'm still going for see you at the Gabba turning out the way it did.
Yeah.
But coming back to it, it's interesting. Like, I don't think we would have got Rashid Khan if that T20 series, that T20 World Cup wasn't won by India, because that catapulted, Rajput's career from that point onwards, right?
And his impact, his influence on Afghan, and the impact they had. And also, we're looking at, I guess it's something we'll kind of still build up and get into it as well. But what would have happened with Jeff Lawson's Pakistan career, like as coach?
Oh, he would have been crowned prince. They would have given him like somewhere around Kashmir. They would have given him like a block of land, and he would.
Which, of course, India would have blocked that. This is not. Other thing, the ICL would not have started had India not won. So IPL started later, but ICL started before.
You don't. You think they would have not
even before
started?
that the ICL would have cancelled?
Yeah. So you think that the ICL wouldn't have started at all?
I don't think so.
Because ICL's first season was 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right after the World Cup.
Soon after the World Cup. Yeah. Do you think they would have canned it right before, even though India lost?
They got on the wave straight away. They saw, there's a good positive thing about the T20 competition. Let's get something started. They got Kapil Dev on board, and they got some other players on board. Obviously, they never paid them. That's another story. But then BCCI thought, hang on, there is a business model. Let's do something about it. They got a lot
and there's the thirst of like T20 seems real.
Yeah.
And we're now world champions. Why don't we cash in? So what if Pakistan had won? Would BCCI have jumped on board? Would ICL have really been allowed to just do whatever they want to do?
I think the BCCI would have tried to kill T20 cricket.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want, they'll try and make it as minimal as possible as the impact
as
on
minimal as possible.
You know how we were killing the DRS back then? We would have been killing this competition as well, this format as well.
So India would have just started playing less and less T20s. Yeah. There would have been less one of those attractive things.
No, they would have basically said we're not playing any T20s, or they would have played like the under 18s or the under 21s in T20 format.
At the Olympics?
Not have taken yeah.
So there's still a black hole there, or a little bit of space for another format. What other format could have potentially jumped in? Because I still think like one day cricket would be dying, and there would have been something with the ICC to do to fix it.
They may have done more variations to ODI cricket. They were already experimenting with a lot of variations back then. Like the whole 15-over power play got replaced by 10 overs, and then the batting power play, and then the bowling team's power play.
And the second ball.
The second new ball. Yeah, no reverse swings.
There was something else. There was something else as well. Super sub. They introduced the super sub as well at some stage.
Yeah, they dropped that as well. That was confusing.
Yeah.
The implementation was very confusing.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like,
trying to experiment with the ODI. This is the only format we can really play with.
Or who knows, the format of ODI cricket that Sachin was a big fan of, an ODI that's played over 2 innings, 25 overs each, may have picked up. They would have experimented with something like that, because I think everybody saw the writing on the wall. ODI cricket wasn't going to be around for a long time, but if the BCCI had lost interest in T20 cricket, then the world starts to lose interest in T20 cricket, or the world is forced into losing interest in T20 cricket.
Do you think there's a scenario where the 100 could have replaced T20 cricket?
Yeah, maybe. Because I think 100, a lot of people still don't understand how 100 actually works. Like a lot of players sign up for it, and then they sign out of it. Like, you know what? No, sorry, we're not playing. But yeah, potentially.
I actually don't know how the 100 works.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
How does the 100 work?
Yeah. The thing is, any change in world cricket has to be done by the big three. Australia, India, or England. Anyone else doing it, who cares? Like, I remember there was this thing back in New Zealand where you got 8 runs off a ball or something
Super Smash
Yeah,
or
Super
whatever
Smash.
it was called.
Sachin played
Martin
it.
Crow's format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cricket Max.
Something like that. But that never took off because it happened in New Zealand.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
that was their thing as well. But because BCCI saw more than BCCI, I think it was Lalit Modi who saw there is a potential business
There
model.
is potential, yeah.
You know, I can get, and that's where money actually started coming into the Indian cricket.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been just status quo.
Yeah.
So we're saying the world cricket, really, the takeover happened because Pakistan let India win the T20 World Cup in 2007.
They made a sacrifice for the betterment of the game throughout the world.
So what we need to do is congratulate Pakistan for saving your cricket.
Maybe we need to congratulate ICC for brokering a deal between India and Pakistan to play that final.
and you'd have to think about, if T20 cricket doesn't exist, the women's sport probably doesn't get the push that it needs and the growth it needs through T20 cricket.
Yeah.
And so there's actually a lot connected to it, right? Like the T20, if BCCI go out and just kill T20 cricket, the IPL doesn't happen. And the IPL was a big factor to it becoming a global brand, T20 becoming a global kind of approach to it. It, has a lot of knock-on effects. It probably impacts the women's game globally. It has, where in 2020 we had 90,000 people watch the women's T20 World Cup final played at the MCG, which was historic. It's such a huge audience. And, that's 13 years down from this win. And that shows that progress. And that final was Australia versus India as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. If IPL didn't happen, PSL, BBL, the South African League, the Caribbean League.
The Caribbean Premier League, yeah. And now the American, or as they call it, the Major League Cricket.
Major League Cricket, MLC would have started. And when I say Caribbean League, I mean the Caribbean League where the owner didn't get arrested. The second Caribbean League, not the first one. That won't have started. I mean, it's given livelihood to so many people across the globe. So, yeah.
Bangladeshi players, like West Indian players.
Players, exactly.
Outlet.
Yeah.
So gave cricket there a bit.
If anything, the likes of Jofra Archer would have moved on to basketball or something had T20 cricket not existed, because in the West Indies, there's simply not enough money for them. So the guy left Barbados for England to pursue cricket because he could see a future wherein there is enough money thanks to franchise cricket.
Yeah, and
injuries
yeah.
had a different idea.
So I think a lot goes to that 2007 World Cup victory for India. And you're right, Pakistan need to be congratulated for actually making it happen for us.
And, then the flow on, obviously, we know the T20 cricket has had such a big influence on cricket as the entire sport, because really it's different sports, but even Test cricket, and, Brendan McCullum was a great exponent of T20 cricket. And then he brought that flowing into Test cricket as well. And now we have Bazball in Test cricket. Would we have had that? Would we have got Test cricket in which you open the paddock and just go after it?
There's two things to McCullum. One is, yes, the innings he played at the beginning of the IPL, 158 of 220 or whatever they scored against RCB. That won't have happened. Number one. Number two, McCullum played the way he played because he gave up wicket keeping. So there's a what if to that McCullum thing as well. What if he was the wicket keeper? Had he been able to actually prolong his career or play the way he played? Because he gave up keeping in Test cricket. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been a different thing. But you're right. McCullum was a huge impact on the T20 game as such. Even the 2015 World Cup, it was supposed to be a 50-over World Cup, but the way he played, except for that final in MCG, like against England in Wellington, the game was pretty much done, dusted in 7-8 overs, chasing 120. It's all down to T20, the way he played.
So we wouldn't have had baseball, it sounds like.
No, we wouldn't have had baseball. Well, I mean, baseball has existed. It's just been given a name now,
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, but I think the previous iterations of baseball were more aligned to
A player,
very specific
maybe?
scenarios. Yeah, a player, teams where they're imbalanced, where you have a particular batting lineup, for instance. Like that, it's not. I think now as a strategy, it can be incorporated by most teams. In fact, I think there's nothing stopping any team attempting the baseball method in the modern era. You just have to jiggle your lineup a little bit to incorporate those kinds of players, and certainly it changes the patina of Test cricket.
Unless your team is full of over 30s and your reflexes have slowed down a bit, So that's the only thing I can think of exception to baseball.
Or if you're Rohit Sharma and over the age of 25, yes.
So you're right. I think it's more a team approach versus someone like Virender Sehwag scoring 300 in one day of Test cricket.
That's a very singular approach, and and you had Hayden and Sehwag doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, India in a Test match was 410 for no loss against Pakistan. I think Dravid was opening with him, if I remember correctly, in a Test, and so Dravid and baseball cannot be associated. but that's how flat the track was.
The balance, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
This has been a really, really good look into the what if and like that scenario if Pakistan had won. We're basically saying if Pakistan had won the T20 2007 World Cup, that world cricket as we know it would be over and everything would be worse. So we're very thankful that India won that World Cup final for the betterment of cricket and for the existence of T20 and all the things it brought to women's cricket and the global sport and to the minor nations that now contribute so heavily to T20 cricket. Thank you, Shivank, Kevin and Sid for joining. If you want to get sports nerdy with the team, or if you have ideas for the next what if, please reach out on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter at the Backpass Pod. We'll be back next week with some more ideas to talk about, some more things, some more what ifs, with more sports analysis and banter right here on the Backpass.